Ed. We went to Quincy this week. We did not have a midweek game. This is our, let's see, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we have our 10th road game in a row tomorrow at Rogers State. Quincy and us were tied going into the weekend, both 9 and 3 in the conference, so it's going to be a great matchup. Quincy, if most of you guys haven't been there, do you guys play Quincy before?
No.
So their yard, and they recruit to their yard, down the right field line, which they moved in a couple of years ago. Said they had to because the concrete footings had to be a little bit farther up. The coaches say it's 300, the players say it's 290. It's got to be 280 down the right field. And the wind was howling out, which it howls out most of the spring in our area. But they have 6 to 7 left-handed hitters in their lineup. You know that they play perfectly to their park. They're a fly ball hitting team. If you look at them defensively, they're not too concerned about what they do defensively because they're going to outslug their way off the air. So on the weekend, in a 4-game set, they hit 9 home runs this weekend, which is probably pretty typical. Where we used to play at Meadow Park, of those 9 home runs, I'd say 2, maybe 3 of those balls leave. And at US Ballpark, they probably don't hit any home runs. So it was one of those weekends where they got some balls in the air, and they definitely benefited from them. We ended up losing 3 or 4 this weekend to Quincy, so now we're 2 back going into the last 3 weekends. But played some tight ball games. Again, we're now 24 and 12, so of our 36 games, 34 of those games we have had an opportunity to win with 2 swings of the bat. So the guy on deck is either the tying or winning run, or we won the ball game. So every game up there we had an opportunity to win with the last swing, with the guy standing at the plate. First game we were down a little bit. Colombo gave up 2, maybe even 3 home runs actually. 2 to a guy that's just absolutely tearing the cover off the ball. They have a kid with 15 home runs, Jake Walter, community college kid, and put a couple balls up in the air. We come back in the last inning. We score 4 in the last inning to get it 6-5. Essex on first base with nobody out, and we end up having 2, 3, 4 up, and end up not getting them in. So we end up losing that game by 1. We were without Shane Bennis this whole weekend. He's sick right now, and he's back at home for a little bit. So it was tough to lose our 3-hole with 13 home runs and 45 ribbies. So Ethan Owens, who's a freshman from Lee Summit West, played second base for him last year. Had 3 at-bats on the season, so he got a full dose of it. So threw him right in the mix, and he did a really good job this weekend. Had some big knocks for us. Game 2, Garrett Woods pitched really well. You talk about late recruiting, Chris, and getting guys in August. Garrett joined us 3 days after school started at College of the Ozarks this past year. So that was that semester. So you're definitely at the mercy of sometimes of the guys that you get, the guys that you lose. You know, sometimes in D2 ball, you get some guys that after a couple semesters, a couple years, they realize I'm not really happy being the number 5 starter, the number 6 starter. I'm not happy being the 3rd catcher with the depth we have, and they kind of move on and do some other things academically. So sometimes you're at the mercy of the club you have, and you try to make sure you're all going in the same direction. But this year we've got a great group of fighters. To have an opportunity to win 34 or 36 games within 1 swing is pretty unheard of, I think. And we're doing a great job offensively, especially with the guys who are fairly new in terms of Clayton Ingle, who's a freshman from Ozark, is now up in the top of the order, hitting 1 or 2. Essex, who never had a college at-bat till this year, being in there every day. Ethan Owens, now a freshman. Dylan Bradshaw from Lebanon, who hadn't started before. So quite a few contributors that hadn't done too much. Game 2, we ended up winning. Garrett Woods pitched great. We went complete game again, back-to-back weekends. So we finish up 1-1 on the first day, come back the next day. Avery Jennings just started. We'd thrown a good midweek. He threw well against SBU and beat Central Missouri as well. And he got hit around. Ball was flat. Wind was blowing again. And if he's throwing sinkers and you don't get the ball down, you get hit around pretty good. So he gave up 7 in the first, maybe 8 actually, 8 in the first 2. And we couldn't answer back. We ended up getting a 10-6 in the last inning. 2 outs, bases loaded. Got the closer in the game, which was good for us to try to get their closer on the bump and try to work their pen throughout the weekend. Hit a sharp ground ball and lost that one. Last game we go into trying to split the series, try to leave there with 2 road wins against a ranked team. We both went in ranked. We were 21. I think they were 25. And kind of a back and forth ball game. We started chipping away late. We were down 3. Runners on first and second, 2 outs. We hit a ball pretty square to center. Colombo does. Owens is coming around. on-deck hitter doesn't tell them whether to slide or not, they throw the ball to third. They tag our guy out at third before we come across the plate. And Ethan's sliding past the bag because the catcher's pretending like he's going to tag him, so the run doesn't count. From my vantage point, it looked like
Charlie, you have a call line 2.
And the run was going to count. The umpire said it didn't. We disagreed for a little while, and then I was escorted to the bus. I did find out later, and I sent him an email that night about 12:30 when I couldn't sleep. I went back through the video because all the GLBC sports games are archived. He did make the right call because we didn't put our hand down on the base until after he was tagged out at third. But so I was escorted out. Our guys fought back. We got bases loaded, down 2, and Perkins hits a ball and screws. Center fielder doesn't even move. I'm actually standing behind the center field wall at that point, working my way back, and I hear it hit, and I immediately hear the center fielder catch it. So I knew it was hit well, it was caught well, and some of their fans started cheering, so I knew obviously it didn't drop. But throughout the weekend, we played better defense. We made 1 error, I believe, the whole weekend. They made 10. We hit the ball harder, I thought. We only had 2 home runs. They had 9, even though we scored the ball up. That's the way it goes sometimes. So that was the first series that we have lost since Fort Smith, which was our 3rd weekend of the year. So we've done a good job. We need to answer back. We have Rogers State tomorrow. At least our guys do. I got to sit out, so I'll probably go find another game to watch. Watch you guys tomorrow. And then Rockhurst comes here this weekend. We have a Pack the Park the event set for Saturday, trying to get as many people in the park as possible. Weather doesn't look great, so that might move to Sunday. So we'll kind of put that out there if we do decide to change it. But it should be a great event, and we're looking forward to playing Rockhurst and getting back to where we are and maybe making up some ground in the standings. So we're currently 2nd in the standings with 3 weekends to go and 5 games this week. So appreciate you guys having us. Thank you very much.